Welcome. This is a production brought to you by the Idaho Commission on Aging.
Thank you all for joining us on what has turned out to be a not so bad Tuesday. Again, we're kind of going from, is it spring? Is it winter? I woke up to, I don't know, an inch or so of snow on the ground in Boise, and we had snow in Sun Valley last week too. So I don't know. I think it's the middle of April, but maybe not. In any event, welcome to the second meeting of the steering committee of the FPC-ID. I hope you were all still eager and anxious to get underway, because today we really are going to be starting to work, if you will. We don't always like to say the work part of it, but we do. The first thing to do is to, again, remind you that we are recording this, which you can review at any time. If you've taken a look at it, we put the link both on our website, as well as, no wonder I'm getting a headache, I'm talking with you can go to our website, which is aging.idaho.gov/FPC-ID. It's taking shape. It's not quite there yet, but we do have links there. You also can go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@IDAHO-COA. So Idaho, and then the letters for Commission on Aging. So please do take advantage of all of those resources for yourself to review, or others who don't quite make it to the meeting. So what are we going to discuss today? Well, in just a second, we're going to finish up with the welcome, and we're going to have each of you do a very brief introduction. Ultimately, we will get to where we just have everybody put your name and where you're from in the chat. But I think for our first few, we want to see people and hear you speak and kind of get to know each other that way. So we will be doing that. Then we'll be reviewing our action items, just as a reminder of things we hope that we have all accomplished. And that'll kind of get us where we need to be before we start into new stuff. We are going to give you guys a summary of the brainstorm ideas. Hopefully you had a chance to review that as well. And then we're going to get again to the work at hand, which is the first part of step 5. And that is creating our mission, our vision, and our values. We're not going to do goals quite yet. We're going to do mission, vision, and values. Have a little discussion there, see what we need to do to get that into the best shape that we can. After that, we'll review what our new action items are in order to prepare for our next collaborative, which, believe it or not, is going to be May already. And then we'll do our closing and adjourn. So hopefully that works for everybody. And what we're going to do before then is talk a little bit about meeting etiquette. You guys know this. Eventually we'll drop this one as well, but please mute yourself when you're not speaking. When you start speaking, it's helpful, I would say, this is Aaron and whatever you have to say, so you can again kind of put people together. We also want to make sure that you speak clearly and slowly. And we do have an ASL interpreter with us today. And it really, really helps the interpreters if we speak clearly, slowly, and don't talk over each other. It's hard to decide what 5 people are saying all at the same time. And then, of course, we always want to be respectful. So with that, I am going to let you guys start with your introductions. Something like, my name is Erin Olson, and I am with the Idaho Commission on Aging, and I work and live in Boise. We'll keep it short and sweet. Caitlin is going to take us through our list. So take it away, Caitlin.
Thank you, Erin. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Caitlin Gaines. I'm Erin's partner in this coalition. Thank you for being here. I'm a physical therapist up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, in the hospital at Kootenai Health. So thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and just start. It's going to end up being in alphabetical order on my list here. And please forgive me if I don't say your name correctly. I'm still trying to learn everybody's names and titles and stuff. So we'll go ahead and start with Annabeth.
Okay. Hi, I'm Annabeth. I think I'm all put together here. I'm an RN from Boise. I work at Living Independence Network Corporation, and we help send caregivers into the homes of people so they can stay independent and live in their home instead of in an institution or a facility.
Thank you. We'll do Amanda Rogers next, please.
Hi there, my name is Amanda Rogers, and I am the Physical Activity and Nutrition Program Manager at the Department of Health and Welfare, and I oversee the funding and coordinating of the statewide Fit and Fall Proof program.
Thank you. How about Bob Wood next, please?
Okay, my name's Bob Wood. I'm the Associate Dean for Research at Boise State University College of Health Sciences.
Thank you. Haley Merrick next.
Hey everyone, I am a Master's of Public Health student at Boise State University, and I oversee the evaluation of the Fit and Fall Proof program.
Thank you. How about Gail next, please?
Hi, my name is Gail Hines, and I'm the Balance and Vestibular Program Manager for our Idaho Elks Hearing and Balance program with St. Luke's in Boise.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm gonna probably mispronounce this. Is it Jaharia?
Hi, it's fine. My name is Jahira Faber. And I work at the Council for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing as the Outreach and Communications Coordinator. So working within all of our online programs.
If I can clarify real quick, because I want to know, is it Jahira? Is that pronouncing it correctly?
Yes, Jahira.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll do Jeanette Olson next, please.
My name is Jeanette Olson, and I am an associate professor and health education director at Idaho State University in Pocatello. And I'm in the Department of Community and Public Health.
Thank you. And I can't remember if it's Jay Clovis. I can't remember your first name. I apologize.
Oh, that's no problem. My name is James Clovis. I'm the Repairs Program Manager at Boise Valley Habitat for Humanity. We provide critical health and safety repairs to allow homeowners to age in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate Wilson next, please.
I am Kate Wilson. I'm a health educator for one of the public health districts. I am in Lewiston, and one of the programs that I coordinate is the Fit and Fall Proof program for our region.
Thank you. And Kelly Borland next.
Hi, I'm Kelly Borland. I'm the Injury Prevention Coordinator up here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho for Community Health Trauma Services.
Thank you. And Natalie Nathan, please.
Yeah, hi, I'm Natalie Nathan. I am the Special Projects Manager at the Southwest Idaho Area Agency on Aging. So our offices are in Meridian, and I oversee our Living Well with Diabetes and Chronic Pain workshops, as well as all of our outreach.
Thank you. Sage next, please.
Hi there. My name is Sage Stoddard, and I'm the Director at Area Agency on Aging in Coeur d'Alene, and we serve the 5 northern counties.
Thank you. Sarah next, please, and we'll end with Stephanie.
Sarah Taves with the Center for the Study of Aging at Boise State University, also here representing the Idaho Caregiver Alliance that includes an extensive network of over 1,000 individuals across the state of Idaho, across the lifespan as well, and hoping that we can think about this lifespan, this falls prevention from a lifespan perspective as well as older adults. So.
Yes, we will, Sarah.
Thank you.
And then I'm Stephanie Shattuck, and I am the program director for the Idaho Traumatic Brain Injury Program, and I work for Idaho State University in Meridian.
Great. Thank you,
And-
everyone. Did I miss anybody? And if so, please speak up now.
This is Krista Kramer from the Idaho Assistive Technology Project in Moscow. However, I'm out in the middle of southern Idaho in the blustery day we're having here.
All right. Thank you. Sorry for missing you. Is there anybody else? All right. Thank you, everybody. And Erin, I'll pass it back to you.
Do that a few more times, so we do get to know each other. It warms my heart because I get to hear some of you that I've been working with for a while, but others are new, and we definitely want to get to. I want to get to know you, and we'll all get to know each other quite a bit as we look through the coalition. So I technically have this perfection of agenda slide. I'll tell you right now, it's simple. So the agenda Caitlin and I created is perfect, but I will ask, is there anybody that wants to add anything to the agenda from topics that we spoke about? This will probably be more important as we get into kind of some more detailed work, but I like to kind of put that in there to get us started. So we will move on to the next slide, which is a review of our prior action items. And again, we know that all of you have a whole lot of things to do and a lot of meetings to go through. So we try to get this information out as soon as possible, just to give you a basis to do our work. None of it at this point is required, but highly recommended. So Caitlin, if you move on to our next slide. Hopefully there's no surprises here. We wanted to look with, just basically getting started, having you review some of the historical documents, get yourself in a place where you're ready to start thinking about, why are you here? Why are you here representing your organization, and what you think the purpose and the mission and vision of the coalition is going to be. Then, of course, we will probably never take off that we want to make sure that you guys are talking to other people about the coalition, bringing in some other members, and keeping us all active and coordinated and inclusive in all of those different ways. So did anybody have any questions about anything that was on the action items list from last time? Remember that I'm emailing information right now. I am also putting it on the website. We realize that some organizations don't allow access to, Google Drive. So we're primarily going to be using the website because everybody can access that. But for now, I am emailing, and hopefully we'll lighten up on some of the email attachments you get as time goes on. So next slide, please, Caitlin.
Okay. I'm going to take over for just a brief moment. So for those of you that were at our meeting last time, we had a brainstorming session at the end of our meeting for the things that as a group we want to see accomplished, that we're interested in, things like that. Erin and I kind of collaborated a little bit after that meeting and came up with some basic themes. We kind of divided them into who, what, and how. Under who, we included inclusivity, partnerships, and target populations. Under what, we included assessment, education, environmental safety, professional practice, and research. And under how, we included community engagement, awareness, and access. So we just wanted to remind everyone that our first brainstorming session will definitely not be our last. We still have our list that we created as a group that has all the details, but this was kind of a very summarized list of how we can kind of move forward, and this will help guide our mission, goals, and vision statement. So I just wanted to quick go over how we kind of summarized all of our ideas from last session, from our last meeting. And then I just wanted to really remind everybody where we're at in our development stages of this coalition. So officially last meeting, we finished our formation stage, and the last step in that was creating our planning group, which is all of you guys right here. So now we have officially moved into the maintenance stage. And the first step in this stage is creating a mission, goals, and objectives. So as Erin mentioned in the beginning, this is kind of our big goal during this meeting today. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Erin so we can go ahead and get started with that.
Thank you very much, Caitlin, and hopefully that helps everybody else kind of figure out, where we are. It's like when you get in the car, or worse yet, you get on an airplane and you don't have a watch and you don't know what time you're supposed to arrive. You kind of get lost in the nebulous until you're there. And we want everybody to be part of that journey, not just realizing when we're done and maybe there are things you wanted to do. So with that said, I wanted to kind of go over what's the difference. Now, first of all, I know very well that everybody in this committee has done mission, values, goals, objectives, all that kind of good stuff in the past. So, we don't want to, beat it to death. We just want to make sure that we all understand what we're talking about. So we today are going to be just getting started with, and not even what the plan says, but we're going to do mission and vision and then values. They don't have that one in there. We are going to get to goals and objectives, just not today. And I think all of you could see from just the summary of our brainstorm that there's a lot of goals and objectives, and we simply can't get all of that done in sessions. So we're going to get started with the mission, vision, and values today. So, as we get started building the coalition, we need to have a consensus on what we're working to accomplish and how we're going to get there. This hopefully is, again, not new to anybody. So when we think about the mission, it's basically, why does the FPC-ID exist? It didn't exist, let's just say, a year ago. There have been kind of different iterations of it in the past that have been there and then gone away for whatever reason. So, why are we here? Why are we taking an hour or more each month to do this? When we talk about the vision, that's about how do we describe our ideal future? And I love this one because that's where you get to take off the blinders, you get to break out from even your specific job role and say, what is the perfect world? If I could create that as it relates to falls prevention, how would that look to me? What is it that we're trying to ultimately accomplish? And some people say, well, you shouldn't, go that big because you'll never accomplish it. Well, not unless you plan on accomplishing it. And it never said that it was going to be something that could be done overnight. So finally, the values, and this is, what do we believe in how we as a group should act, how we should behave, how we should interact with each other, and how we should interact with others. And that can be actual statements of things. It can be a list of things. So we'll be going through all three of these as we move through our collaborative today. And what I also want to make sure everybody knows and recognizes is we are brand new. We as a group had not met until last month. We haven't gotten to goals and objectives yet. So when we talk about what our mission and our vision is now, I know, and I want you guys to be aware of the fact that this may not be perfect in your mind. We may, and I would actually suggest that we put it on the agenda for a year from now to come back and review our mission and our vision and say, now that we kind of are in the works of what we're doing, did we cover it all? Is there something we want to modify? Did we forget something? Did we add too much? Those kinds of things. So this really is our starting point. And it is not in any way anything that's going to be final around forever and ever that shall not change. So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. So let's build our identifying statements. Let's get to the nitty gritty of it all. The guiding statements describe the foundation of the coalition. They answer the basic questions about why does the FPC-ID exist? What's our future? And how do we believe in what we should be doing and acting and behaving? So let's start with the mission. Now, this is also, in some people's minds, a little backwards, because if you think of it as, a hierarchy, normally the vision is big And some people think that the mission then fits under the vision, which it does in some ways. But, you know, the vision is just what it sounds like. How do we view our future? The mission is, you know, how are we going to get to where we want to go? And think of it, if you will, like a military mission. Somebody's going on a mission, they usually have a target and something they hope to accomplish. So our mission statement should be a single statement. That can be a long statement, but a single sentence that describes the purpose of the FPC-ID's existence. It describes our intention. It describes how we're working to make our vision a reality. So again, they do interact with each other. It motivates us not only in our individual work, but also as a committee and a coalition, and ultimately our stakeholders and our consumers in order to work together so that we can invest in what will be our goals with a clear purpose and direction. And we use the mission statement, especially when we're looking at, you know, what are the things that we want to do? We all know that there's a bajillion of them that we could do. And so we may be looking back to the mission to say, does this currently fit? And I know that all of you that work with programs have had to do that. Boy, I'd really love to do this project, but it just doesn't fit into, you know, what we're currently trying to do. So we have a couple of suggestions, actually. Caitlin, would you be so nice as to read the one that you have up on the page? And Caitlin's going to be taking some notes like she did before and kind of reworking. So again, these are just initial ideas, and then we'll discuss how you think they should be modified or changed.
Okay, team, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and read our suggested, mission, and then we'll have a conversation. So here we go. The Falls Prevention Coalition of Idaho provides sustainable coordination of statewide services and supports that decrease the incidence of falls-related injuries and deaths through evidence-based assessment, referral, intervention, education, and environmental hazard remediation by leveraging a coordinated statewide network of governmental agencies, providers, health systems, insurers, educators, community-based organizations, consumers, and advocates that are dedicated to serving needs across the continuum of care.
All righty, thank you, Caitlin. And now, if any of you are Saturday Night Live people that are my age, I'm 55. You remember they used to do a skit where they would say, and now discuss. So, and again, this is kind of an open brainstorm, if you will. Your thoughts on that particular statement. Are there any words that you like or don't like, that you would like to see changed, added, removed, completely rewritten? This is your chance to speak up and let us know what you think about a mission statement that will tell people why the FPC-ID exists. Free to just unmute yourself and speak up.
This is Krista Kramer, and I would love to see assistive technology added into the list, like right before environmental hazard remediation.
Okay.
But access to things like bath benches and grab bars and transfer devices and the kind of equipment that can help prevent falls but aren't necessarily covered by insurance or Medicare.
Right, right. Okay, any other ideas about things? If I remember, research is not in there, and that was one of our main categories. And anybody, and I'm thinking any of our Boise State people who specifically work with research, is there any way that you would like to add research into a mission? Or I'm assuming you think it's important.
Yeah, I think, just my initial reaction is that I'm wondering if we can have like a really brief mission statement and then maybe one that's a little bit expanded, because it's going to start to get really long for a mission statement. So like I would not see research as I would see research as being included under, could be the statewide services and supports. And then what we kind of do is then we tend to explain further on what all those different statewide services and supports are. And I see value in that, but I'm wondering if we could have one that just kind of ends with deaths and then maybe expand on like the how we're going to do that. So that's my initial reaction. But I mean, all this stuff is important to communicate to the public. So it just depends how long we want to get, because we can get pretty long if we want to.
I do not disagree. I know that currently it is long.
And important. It's important.
Maximizing independence through interventions, reduce falls. So we got that part in there. So, yeah. I can see that working. Now, some people, get different ideas about should we be talking about the who, the what, and the how in the mission statement, or does that make it too, like I said, too cumbersome, too big? And we can include, for example, all of those different entities like the evidence-based programs and interventions and things like that as part of our goals and objectives.
Right. But I like it. I mean, it's so comprehensive. You've already obviously put a lot of thought into it. So thank you for whoever drafted that.
Well, there's more than one way to write a mission statement. So, some I read one as we're working on our new state plan for Commission on Aging, and it was out of Texas. And I didn't think that it was a good one, but all it said was Texas does good work. Well, that's a little bit too broad and ambiguous. So I'm just trying to work through this. Caitlin, can you read how that would be if we cut it off right after the injuries and deaths? Please.
Yeah, so just the first part, Erin.
Yeah.
The Falls Prevention Coalition of Idaho provides sustainable coordination of statewide services and supports that decrease the incidence of falls-related injuries and deaths.
So that says who we are. It says that we are addressing a statewide need, and it also says that we are reducing falls, injuries, and deaths. And then we will get into the other details about the who and the what in our goals and objectives. Any thoughts on any or all of the above?
I think it was very, very thorough and a good explanation, but I'm in favor of the shorter one. And, we do say the statewide services and supports, we just don't say what each one is, because invariably, if we try to list them all, we're going to forget some. And
exactly.
But that's a good list right there. All of those are important.
Are there any words in the first part of what we have that anybody would like to see changed? I mean, I'm a wordsmith. I can sit and mold the words for hours and hours, but is there anything that jumps out that you don't like or think would be a better word to use in that first part?
This is Gail. As I was thinking about the mission for this collaboration, and after our brainstorming session last month, some of the words that just I kept thinking about is fostering collaboration. That just seemed to be a strong focus of this group. Not quite sure how that would fit in or where it would fit in, but
We do have reduced the number of falls by reducing, while maximizing independence through a collaborative statewide approach. But that's after the part where we were gonna cut it off. So let's see. Would you rather see statewide collaboration instead of coordination, or we could say statewide coordination and collaboration? It's one way or the other on that change.
Aaron, I can also read the shorter one that I had created if you'd like.
Please do.
I am looking for it right now, but I will happen in just a second.
I have it. It's the Falls Prevention Coalition of Idaho is an initiative aimed to reduce the number of falls among older adults by maximizing independence through a statewide approach. And then it just finishes up with using evidence-based falls prevention interventions. And I don't know if I read that clearly enough for the rest of you to read.
You know what, I can type it on this document too. First, I want to call on Jahira because she's had her hand up for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And then Sarah next, and then Amanda.
All right. So who's first?
Thank you. This is Jahira. And I wasn't at our last meeting, and so I'm just trying to catch up on it. Where are we going to be displaying this? Who is our target audience for our mission statement? I want to make sure, you know, if we're needing to include everything, or if that shorter statement is going to be more comprehensive for our target audience.
That's always a hard question with the breadth of services and supports that we all provide and who we want to reach. So the mission statement needs to really be for anybody and everybody. It needs to be for us to say, are we on target with the activities we're planning on doing to help meet the goals of the mission? It's for potential stakeholders, potential funders, consumers, anybody that wants to know what is the FPC-ID in a 15-second elevator speech should get that from the mission statement. That's my take on a mission statement. Does anybody have other ideas on that? And does that help?
So that's going to be displayed everywhere online as well as on anything. This is just going to be appearing everywhere we go.
It could be, yes. It should be able to be displayed.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome. Who's next on our list to speak, Caitlin?
That was Sarah next, and then Amanda.
Thanks. I think with that kind of clarification of where this is going to be placed, I think shorter would certainly be in order. I'm feeling like this is a little, I'm wondering if we could put a prevention spin into this. So you have Falls Prevention Coalition provides sustainable coordination, blah, 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 blah. But rather to decrease the incidence of falls is to, improve the, settings. And it just seems like I was hoping to get something in there a little bit more positive, proactive, not just decrease, but change.
I understand what you're saying, Sarah, and I agree because I struggle with that word. What I want to say is prevent, but I changed it because are we as a coalition ever going to be able to prevent every fall?
I think I was getting to more of, we might be the instrument that helps the systems change to reduce the risk. So we aren't going to be necessarily impacting, but yet I think we are here as a larger statewide voice to impact, to, impact systems change through, evidence-based programming and, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I guess I
So,
kind of, yeah.
I'm trying to review this and it's challenging because I can't see the whole thing. So do you have a suggestion for what you'd like to see modified, Sarah?
No, I don't have anything specific, to put here, but I think just for consideration is that we raise the level of this to really focusing on this statewide coalition is here to enhance systems that, assure, maximize health, well-being, and, so, but, because I think that is this role of a coalition. It is big. I mean, it's the big picture when you have this many different people in the room with this expertise is,
If we go back to the first part and say coordination of services and supports, that if we inserted, and I'm trying to think and talk all at the same time, coordination of statewide services and supports that impact, and I'm trying to think, impact health systems or impact state systems or something like that.
Aaron, I don't want to forget about
That
Amanda
decrease.
either.
I'm sorry,
She's had her
go
hand
ahead.
up for a while. Sorry, Amanda.
No worries. And I have comments to make on all of this as well. So thank you. And this is also my first meeting at the Falls Prevention Coalition. So also catching up. But from my understanding and looking at this and what you guys have worked on before, all of these elements would be great to be used in different categories. So the actual shorter one that was just written in there, that matches a little bit more with what I understand the mission to be, which is saying what you do now, for whom, how you do it, and what this achieves. The top one is really getting into our goals and the tangible ways in which we're going to carry out that mission. And it can also speak to the values. So I think that whatever platform you're looking at having this on, the mission being that kind of shorter, like this is who we are, this is who we're doing it for, and this is how we're, what we're hoping to achieve with it in that kind of like brief, reel them in kind of way. And then you can say like, our goal is to do this through evidence-based assessment and referral and intervention and working with these statewide systems and then, have that larger vision of increased independence for older adults and less falls and less injury, less death, etc. So I think that you have a lot of excellent elements in this larger mission that's written at the top that can be used and split out into various different categories of how you would describe the whole coalition.
Excellent. I will say that I agree, and let's just take a voice vote about either the first one or the second one. The second one's already short, but the first one, cutting it off basically after we talk about falls related injuries and deaths. Does everybody agree that we want the mission statement to be shorter and putting those final things that are in the first one, obviously as part of our goals and agendas? Everybody that agrees with that, let's hear a yes.
Thumbs up.
Yes.
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 Is there anybody
Yes.
that
Yes.
chooses to disagree?
I like the short aspect of that, but I'm also interested in how to turn it around and what we're promoting rather than decreasing, like death.
That's another one we talk about, falls and injuries. And again, when I think of this, it's almost like, but I don't want people to forget that we're not just talking about somebody breaking a hip. People die. It's the number one cause of older injuries and deaths. So, I get we want it to be positive, and sometimes we can combine those words. Again, so it's not as long. Quality of life. Bob suggested might be an option as well. So I think we have agreement that we want it to be shorter. And we have a couple different ideas. We've also captured some, sorry, I stop and I forget that you guys can't hear what I'm hearing from the chat. Some different words, some different ideas that we want to work into that. So I think what we might do for now is leave the mission. Caitlin and I will go back through the recording and our discussion and put it together, shorten it up, tighten it up, and then we can send it out and get some more discussion if anybody wants to change. Does that sound okay to everybody? Because we're trying to accomplish a lot in a fairly short amount of time. So hopefully that works for everybody.
Yes.
Caitlin, let's move on to our vision. Because
Yes, that was a great discussion, by the way, and I appreciate all that feedback. So that was great. I'm excited to move on to the next one.
What a couple of you have talked about already is, big. Well, the vision statement is actually bigger than the mission statement. Vision statement is future focused. What are we looking at, trying to accomplish, working to accomplish? What is the state of the world after the FPC-ID has made its mark on the world? And that, of course, will encompass long-term goals, especially missions sometimes are a little bit shorter term. So we have one that is just, Caitlin, you want to go ahead and read that for us?
Sure. Yep. So the suggested vision is Idahoans experience fewer falls and fall-related injuries, maximizing their health, well-being, independence, and quality of life. So much shorter. So what are your guys' feedback on that?
Silence from the crowd isn't a good thing. What I like about that is it includes some of the words you guys were already talking about. Health, well-being, quality of life, those kinds of things are in there. And again, that's a very big picture. It's not specific. What is well-being? Well, that could be many things for many different people. It talks about Idahoans. So we are impacting, for the purpose of the coalition, people that are in Idaho. I purposefully did not put in anything about older adults, older Idahoans, because that's what Commission on Aging focuses. But I know that many of you do not focus on people with some sort of disability. You focus on people that get traumatic brain injuries. It could be a 21-year-old who was out water skiing or something like that. So made that very, very generic. So the question is, if you guys close your eyes and you picture what is the perfect world if we do what we say we want to do, which is a lot. Does this statement cover it? Or again, are there any words that you don't like that you would change, that you would add in? It does say experience fewer falls. So again, what Sarah,
Yeah, I kind of pick up on that too. It's almost, again, feels like you'd be blaming the victim almost, is our vision is to, create systems that assure, we are able to, I'm still struggling with what those words are, but
I understand what you're saying, Sarah, because experience fewer falls. There's something in the like the tense of the verb that's just not. It's not meshing. Because
so Natalie, I
experience
know
is like
that
that
you
present.
like wordsmithing things. Do you have a alternative recommendation?
to me, it would be the suggestion vision. I think that it's good, but I think for Idahoans to experience fewer falls and fall related injuries, maximizing their health, well-being, independence, and quality of life.
Hi, this is Kelly. I'm just wondering if we flip that. I mean, I think health, well-being, independence, quality of life means different things to a lot of different people. If we maybe put that last part first, and then maybe that would translate into the fewer falls and fall-related injuries.
So, let's see. The health, well-being, independence, and quality of life are maximized by Idahoans. And again, come back to experiencing fewer falls. Trying to think and talk at the same time doesn't always work. But is that kind of what you were thinking of, the starting off with the health, well-being?
It sounded good in my head. It sounded good in my head, but then I didn't. The specific wording I didn't put a whole lot of thought into yet.
Does anybody else have a great idea right now about how to flip that?
You could do something, Idahoans, improve their health, well-being, and independence while decreasing number of falls through, I don't know. It's hard. It's easier in your head, right? And then
Somebody had something to say in the chat. Caitlin, can you read what that was?
Bob said, he's wondering if it was something along the lines of Idaho offers comprehensive and accessible services that, and so on from there. Haley said Idahoans gaining strength and stability in gait, she's looking for a positive spin on that. Or those are the two things that I had on that.
Okay. All good ideas. It's just getting it all in the right order.
Can you guys envision this vision statement to be more than one sentence? I know we try to keep it short, but would it be beneficial to have it with two sentences similar to the mission, so we can add in the things that we want to add? Or should we try to keep it really brief with this one?
I'm not opposed to having two short sentences. My preference would be to have one, but I'm not opposed to two. As long as we accomplish what we need to. And remembering vision is the big kahuna. It really doesn't have details about what's going to be done, how it's going to be done. We just know that who are we trying to impact? And maybe we could start there. Do we want to use the word Idahoans? So, like I said, everything I write usually says older Idahoans. And it's just, again, what is the big picture? I'm trying to think of a different analogy to use. I'm a type 1 diabetic. So, a vision for a diabetic, could be that Idahoans with diabetes. And again, I keep coming back to experience. Thank you, Krista. Experience, fewer low blood. You don't want to get into any of that. That really is even too much of a mission statement. So we need to be very broad here.
I think I personally liked Bob's starter of it. That was Idaho offers comprehensive and accessible services that, and so forth.
Yeah. The reason I said that is because that's what we're going to be focusing on, right? Is trying to get it all figured out and offered. And, hopefully people will take advantage of it. But the thing we can do, that's why I said that.
Yeah, I think it's a great start, actually.
I like it, with the exception of it to me goes back more to a mission statement, because remember, the vision is what are we accomplishing in the world? And so I get the offers and I like what you said we were offering. I'm just wondering if we can reword it a little bit to be more visionary than mission driven. Does that make sense to anybody?
Jeanette, I want to go ahead and call on you because you've had your hand up for a minute here.
I know there's concerns with the phrase fall prevention because we want to focus on the positive piece, but I guess I don't find it completely offensive because that's exactly the goal is we are trying to prevent some things because we'd like individuals to be strong and see what we're trying to avoid. And so I can see the implications that it might be seen as a negative, but I do think that saying preventing falls, it leaves it wide open to many ages, many people with different impairments. It leaves it open to a lot of individuals within certain conditions. And so I guess my slant on that is that phrase, I don't see, I think it would be okay to list it there or to use it in there because I see that as the vision. We're trying to prevent a lot of things in a lot of populations.
Good point. Sarah made a comment about changing the wording a little bit.
To Idaho has.
Yeah.
So how would that sound completed? Idaho has.
And that was building off of Bob's kind
Yeah.
of rendition there. So it's
So that Idaho has a comprehensive and accessible service. Is that what you were taking that off of? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That might be a good possibility.
Okay.
It's 2:53, so I am going to have us move on to values. Like I said, we're gonna kind of continue to work with these and come up with the perfect answer. And there may or may not be a lot of discussion about values because that is something that we again will want to post and publish. But there can be a whole lot of things about values. And, we talk about Idaho values and things like that. What we currently have is that our value statement describes kind of what our culture is going to be. How do we want to work with people? How do we want to be viewed by our colleagues that are involved here, as well as stakeholders and funders and governmental people and all of that kind of stuff. It should describe, kind of the core values of what we all believe in. And this is really hard because there are roughly 22 or 26 of us. And I think every one of us could come up with a whole list of values that I have that Caitlin may not share or that somebody else may not. And we don't want this to be in any way a political statement either. So what we did is we kind of created, again, some categories and said, okay, we've talked about how communication is going to be critical in what we do. That was part of our brainstorm. We also talked about needing to have information and communicating the information. How do we work together with each other in our personal kind of skills? When we work with consumers, which would be basically anybody outside of our coalition, how should we be working with them and working with other people in partnerships? And then, that's who we are, how we work, but then we also need to touch on our programming. When we get to doing our programming, which will partly be next time we meet, what should our programming be? How should our programming be? And then, what do we expect from, for lack of a better word, the administration of the coalition, which right now is the steering committee. So this would be kind of for us. And finally, what are the outcomes? How do we put values on the outcomes that we're looking for? Is it okay for anything to happen? Or do we have certain expectations for our outcomes and what they should be? So there's kind of a laundry list there. And a bunch of them. Did anybody have a chance to review these and come up with anything that they thought they wanted added or removed? And then, of course, we can go into the wordsmithing later on. First of all, are there any other categories that you think of when we talk about the values of, in this case, the values of our organization, which is the coalition? How we work, how we behave, how we interact, and what we produce. So Kate Wilson says that she would like to see collaborative. Under, and again, I can't keep them in here at the same time. Inclusion is in there. Caitlin, you want to kind of read the chat and add them to our list?
Yep. As people say things, I'm just adding them in here. So
okay.
I'm ready.
Diversity.
That's in there, right? It's interpersonal.
I'm sorry, did somebody say it's in there already?
Under interpersonal, you have clarified what that means, but
okay.
Equity and inclusion belongs in with those. I don't know. Or if it's a separate category. I don't know. I was just thinking out loud. Sorry.
Good. No, thinking out loud is good. And then somebody said, can we remove stakeholder? I think it was, and use partner instead. You know, there's a whole lot of semantics that we get into. Thank you for being here. Again, kind of that wordsmithing part of, you know, which words are best and perfect. And there aren't any perfect because we're going to be using these in different situations. So I hope that we all think of everybody that we work with as partners, even though they may not be formal partnerships with a contract or statement of work or something. But stakeholders can be different in that the stakeholders of falls prevention are not just the people who are currently falling. It's not just the health systems that deal with the person. It really goes all the way out to all Idahoans, because guess what? A lot of taxpayer money has to go to caring for both short-term and long-term people who fall. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Just kind of in many of these, there are going to be variations in words, and they can be important sometimes and not in others. So what I think we should do is do you have an alternate word for stakeholders?
I was just thinking partners, or I don't, sometimes we use interested parties or something. We try not to use that word of stakeholders just because of the negative thoughts behind
so
it.
Just some other word that we can use other than stakeholders.
Yes.
Okay, we got that.
And Erin, this is Deanne.
Yes.
I also think like keeping it simple. So, you know, like, because you're going to have all different types of educated people, you know, on low educated and high educated. And so just keeping it simple and not really wordy, I think would be good. People that are going to be reading this, right? Am I too far off base?
You are not. Hopefully people do look at this and know how we work and why we work.
Right. So keeping it simple and less wordy, like, you know, so they aren't thinking when they read it, like, that's kind of a broad spectrum word. What did they mean by that? I don't know. I was just thinking keeping it simple might be kind of nice for those reading it.
Yes, we like the KISS principle, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Which stands for keep it simple,
stupid.
Sweetie.
Oh, I thought stupid. I like your word better.
So do I. When I was teaching, I'm like, you know, people don't need to see, because that comes from, you know, the dummies books. I'm like, who needs to be staring at bright yellow and black thing that tells them they're a dummy all the time? So let's change that up.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I want to, of course, respect everybody's time, and we're getting out of time. So we will send out the action items. Basically, they are think about and look at some of the things that we've done. I'm probably going to suggest that you just email any additional suggestions, especially for the values list. And we'll coordinate all of those and send them out to everybody as well. And then next time we meet, we're going to talk about what I call a KPA. And most of you think KPI, key performance indicator. Actually, it's a key performance activity is the way we're going to think about that. And that really is a work group. I don't like using the word work groups, but what are your interests? What are your skills and your experience? Are you good at membership? Are you good at education? Are you good at professional education versus consumer education? So I'll be working up and sending out for all of you, along with Caitlin's assistance, kind of a tentative list that next time we will discuss what is the work that we want to do and how are we going to organize ourselves to make sure that we accomplish that. So I will stay on, and hopefully Caitlin, can you stay on in case anybody has any other questions? But for now, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody. It was a good discussion. We just need about 8 hours to do it instead of 1. But I think we made some progress, and we will continue to work on these until we get them put together. We will see you all on May. I had the date. You got our date, Caitlin? Because now I'm forgetting what it
May
is.
16th.
May 16th. Same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate all of your input. Caitlin as well, because she did all the heavy lifting, and we will see you next time. Please feel free to contact us if you need to.
Thank you for joining us. This has been a production brought to you by the Idaho Commission on Aging, supporting the well-being of aging Idahoans since 1968. For more information on resources to stay at home, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay informed, visit our website at www.aging.idaho.gov.